SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG and welcome to the channel. Today, I want to do something not different, but something that just came out recently, or at least they just uploaded like 5 days ago. And that is the Mandela Catalogue. I've watched it for a long time, I've rewatched it, and I got a lot to say about it. I thought it was a lot to make a video on, and I did like this last upload, and felt that it was very impactful to the story, and it really related to some of the material on my channel nonetheless. So, without further ado, please, before we get started, subscribe, like, and comment down below if you enjoyed the video. I would really appreciate it myself, and let me know if there's any other like analog horrors, ARGs that you would like me to look at. I'll check them out as soon as I can, and yeah, let's get into it, shall we? The Mandela Catalogue has such a long-running story, and such a well-knit one at that it's not hard to get into it, but it's hard to jump in the middle of it and expect to know what's going on. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown of what I do know from the series, and if I get anything wrong, please leave it down in the comments. Well, the first video on the playlist would have to be Overthrown, and that is much more of a parody of a old Christian cartoon, which involves the shepherds and the birth of Jesus, with Gabriel being the main antagonist in the thing. And right away you feel that something's off because of the analog horror style of it. And you can already tell that there is a hidden message that I will talk to later at the very end. But then we go down to volume 1 of the Mandela Catalogue. We're talking through the volumes as a whole, and that's how this is going to be working. And the first volume has a lot to do with plainly introductions, what these alternates are, what they are about, and what they do to people, and how they look especially. And we really don't get that look until about volume 3. So volume 1 is about Mark and Caesar. Caesar invites Mark over to his house, where we do get our first sign of what happens to a person who comes across one of these creatures. And there is little hints that there's something bigger going on, but the fate of Mark is pretty much what happens to most of the people who come across the alternates. We then go to volume 2, where we meet Jonah and Adam. They are part of a paranormal society, which is formerly a club, and they are looking into a woman's house. She claims that there is a cat who has died over a year ago, and she can hear it in her basement. She herself's not there yet, but when they go to investigate under her payment, they find that there is something paranormal going on in the house. Adam is all for it. Jonah seems a little more hesitant to it, and at the end, his fears seem to come true, with Adam talking to something. We don't know what it is, but it seems very familiar to him. We then go on to the Intruder Alert. The Intruder Alert is located with a lot of missing children cases in this story, and we don't get a lot from him, but we do get this and that happening. A lot more is explained in the next video, Exhibition, which continues pretty much off of that, showing that he is still watching no matter what. And it gives us a hint to the bigger story, with a short cartoon segment about Adam and Eve. I know an interesting parallel between this Adam and that Adam, but we'll get to that later. We then go to know that the same intruder is the one that met with Adam at the end of volume 2. We then go to the Mandela Catalogue volume 333, which we meet our main protagonist in this one, called Thatcher, or Lieutenant Thatcher. We know that he is a respected, well-rounded cop, and that he has been looking into the cases of the alternate himself, mainly because of an incident that happened with him and his former partner, who we're not sure the fate of, but we can pretty much surmise what happened when they encountered an alternate. And this is also the first time we have seen an alternate on film, which is a very terrifying experience all in all. Now, we do get that Thatcher, in the Everyday Gets Brighter, has been tormented by this act of cowardice from running away, while his partner has been forced to deal with this creature and ultimately disappeared from it. And we do see that he has set his life to trying to catch this same creature, that something has happened here. The Mandela Catalogue Volume 4 continues on with this, and again we do get that parallel of Adam and Eve happening, but we do get to see the aftermath of what happened to Adam and Jonah where Adam has returned to his friends, but he's become odder, more separated, more agitated. He's different, and at the end of this, we get this idea that he's corrupted himself somehow. And then we do know that Jonah has gone missing, and Adam presumes, deceased at this point. But we don't get that conclusion at the end of this. But we do get the idea that he is acting very much differently. And we do get the idea that the alternates have been here since the early 1900s, maybe 1970s at most, or maybe at least, as far as we know. But it has gone up to this point, which is 2009. And we do get the introduction to Mandela Tech shortly after, where we do know that they're trying to build a perfect AI face, I guess you could say. Like, they're trying to get people to download their images into this computer program that allows to mimic their images and the way of speaking. Now, whether that's for the alternates or the intruder is later for us to discuss. We then get the Bible cartoon again, but this time it is the awakening of Jesus. But we don't get that this time. We get three women meeting Gabriel, or the alternate Gabriel, who's tricking as many people as he can. We do get the Mandela Catalyst next. There we do find that there is this darker thing going on. We do know that there is this idea. There's something going on with the police force themselves. We knew that because Evelyn and Sarah are looking for Adam. They're looking to see what's going on with him, and it brought them to Mandela Tech. And as they're doing that, and may have been discovered by the police because they're cut off from that source after that, we do find that Jonah is still alive, traumatized and not quite himself at this point, but alive nonetheless. And then we get to Presto, another interesting video that is hard to say happened to Thatcher, because now we got that Thatcher himself has become an urban legend amongst the people. What does that entail? We have to see later on. And now finally we make it to the final upload to the series. And this is, of course, Volume 5, where we do get Jonah talking a little bit about how his friend tricked him. Something was going on. He's not quite himself. And we do get this idea that he himself is now an alternate, whether he realizes it or not. And that we got this idea that the alternates may have won. Adam is gone. He may be corrupted. There is this idea that the prophet has been kind of taken by them, by the alternates. So now that Jonah is here, they're trying to figure out where he's been, what's up, and why he seems so thin and out of place. At the same time, a church of Gabriel has started to rise. They're taking in people from witness protection, or just people who've lost their way outside of Mandela, bringing them in. What for? I'm pretty sure we can guess, considering that the Church of Gabriel is all alternates themselves, and they are part of this relocation. There we meet our newest protagonist, Judas, who is taking place in a small farm, isolated from people, and he is being tormented by visions of creatures that the alternates are. And then we get this small cartoon alongside it, where we see the shepherd that's been mentioned throughout the Mandela Catalogue itself, where he is being tempted by Gabriel often and often, and he's trying to reject it, but at that point, he is still kind of being hounded by it, being tricked by it, being terrified by it. And we don't really know the end results, but we can pretty much say that maybe he gave into it. But I don't think that's the case, which is why I'll talk about it later. But it is one of the more important and shorter subplots in the Mandela Catalogue. Alright, with all that being said, I do suggest that you go see the original yourself. I just gave a brief rundown, and probably not really a good one at that, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, let's just talk about the other thing, shall we? But again, I'll leave in the description and of course at the comment section of the first video of the Mandela Catalogue, and a link to the playlist so that you guys can go check it out yourself, which I do suggest doing, even if it's just a refresher course, because I had to do one too. So, right off the bat, what do we know about the alternates? The alternates are led by an alternate version of the angel Gabriel, for one, and their images can be either linked to a regular person with minor defective tendencies, or a major defective tendency, or they might not look like the person at all. Who knows? But they are here to take the image and the place of the person that they are hunting, which is whoever sees them first. The Intruder seems to be against the alternates. He is taking children, as we know, but we don't know for what course exactly. He says that it's to build something up, to help defeat the alternates, if you will. And we do get the idea that he knew Adam way before everything happened. We know that he may have raised Adam at one point, but Adam seems to not remember, or has blocked it out completely. In fact, all these kids that are in this video may have been part of the Intruder's story. What is the ultimate goal of both the alternates and the Intruder? The Intruder's main goal, of course, is just to defeat the alternates. He does not choose any other way, and is thinking very logically about this. I'm not sure how he feels about people themselves. He seems that it would give the appearance that he cares about them, but overall it seems to him that they're more like tools in this process, taking as many people as he away from the alternates as he can, at least those that are important to his overall plot. The alternates, their main plan is to become people, to take over silently, to start their own people, race if you will, and to slowly take over the world in their own image, using the image of Gabriel, using political and religious icons to help them pretty much take over what man has. And we do have a lot of evidence to support that, which we shall get to in a minute. Now, a main religious theme is this, that the alternates, and maybe even the Intruder, are not human, not mutations, and maybe not even angels. They all seem to be demonic beings of nature. We can understand that because they mock religion, they mock people, they don't respect them, they just want to use them. They want to use the fear of man to help control them. We do get that idea throughout the first 3 volumes of the Mandela Catalogue. And another thing about that, actually, is that at the beginning of the Mandela Catalogue, well, at the ending of the first Mandela Catalogue video, after the cartoon, we do get a bit of a quote in the closed captions that's directly from Dante's Inferno. Anyone who's been on the channel knows that I have read Dante's Inferno and have it currently on the channel. Shameless plug, I know, but this goes along with the story. There we get this idea that Dante sees hell, the very lower ends of hell, and has said he can't really describe what happened. Now, originally I thought that was just a throwaway joke because of all the religion iconography in it. But then I started thinking, there was a chapter in Dante, a quick one, a quick reference, that there was this spirit there, frozen in the ice below the ground, in the lowest level of hell. And he claimed that there was this demon that was in control of the government above, that he was the one in charge of Rome, that he had gotten rid of the original person and was taking his place. He offered Dante the eyes so that he could see these creatures for what they were when he goes back to the living world. Dante, of course, refused and moved on to his journey. Now, that seems like a very much case with this. This is very reminiscent of that small tidbit in Dante's Inferno, where there are creatures taking over places of power, where they are replacing people, and that there are these groups of people that may be able to see them. Dante refused it, but maybe others didn't. Maybe others like Adam, maybe others like Mark, who knows who agreed to that. And then at the end of the volume 5, we do see a face talking to the shepherd, saying that don't follow for the tricks of the false angel. And again, it's a creature in the snow, mimicking the Dante's Inferno chapter again. And again, the Intruder himself only depicts himself as a face in a TV screen. Again, referencing that same character from Dante. He is trying to show people what is happening, what these people are about. And which goes on to something I didn't talk about, which I usually talk about the third time. Who is submitting these videos? Now, usually I use this for right after the main story, because as you know, to me the most important part is who is releasing these tapes. There has to be somebody, because we're seeing it, we're viewing it. And that leads me to believe that it's the Intruder. The Intruder is gathering these tapes. He is putting them out. He wants people to know about the alternates. He wants them to know the effects it has on people, the people who fought against it and lost. That he knows what's happening, and he wants you to know what's happening. Because with that, you are aware of how to stop the alternates, or at least how to lose contact with them, and maybe gain trust in his favor. While, like I said, I don't think he's an angel, nor do I think he's on the side of humanity, he will warn people and try to keep them away from alternates as much as he can. And with that, he used YouTube to his advantage. Now, Adam and Jonah seem to be the two main characters that are constant since Volume 2 going into the latest ones. Right next to Mark, that is, but we'll get to him in a second. Adam seems to be the stand-in for Adam from Adam and Eve, mainly because of his name, but also because he seems to be the first child of the Intruder, the first one released back into the world at a certain age. Whether Adam knows this or not, it seems to be true, because the Intruder hints that he has raised him since he was a child, unless this later on confirms to be a trick. While Jonah might not be a child from the Intruder, he does seem to catch the eye of the alternates, because it seems that the alternates contacted them here specifically for Jonah, mainly because Adam has protection, or because Jonah is weaker to it. And in the end, we see that he is taken over by the creature, or is replaced by him, because we see it at the end of Volume 2, and then again at Volume 5. Now, while I do talk about how they're the main characters in this situation, or at least the more important characters, we cannot deny Mark's involvement. Mark is the first known victim that we know of in the Alternates War. We do know that he was haunted and tortured by the Alternates, but that is an odd thing to throw in there. We do know that there was some before, and we do know that there's some after. What makes him different? Well, it seems that he has trickled into a main importance into the main canon. Also, the idea of Mark represents Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, where Mark's story is different compared to the others, where it just talks about how the resurrection happens, not really what happens after or how it happens, just that it happens. And this seems to coincide a lot with what the alternates do. They resurrect themselves as another being. That may be going a little far, but it seems to be the direction that the original idea was going. I can't say this or that about that, but there is a lot of clues to suggest that Mark's story is definitely not over at this point, because there are a lot of unanswered clues in that story. Like, why was Mark in that house? It may or may not have been his house. We do see that there is a toddler's outfit there in front of a TV, suggesting that maybe there was a baby in the house. But at the same time, we know that it may have belonged to Lynn, who was reporting to her ex-husband that there was somebody in the house with them, an alternate. Or maybe it was Mark himself. I can't tell you because there's so little information about that whole case. But at the same time, it's going to be popping up over and over again. It's an interesting take, but I would like to hear what you guys think about that. I really am curious to know what is going on in that scenario. Now, one of the newer characters that we need to talk about is Judas. Now, I don't need to tell you that there is so many biblical references into this that it's plain to see that he may become our main hero at the end of this. Not because Judas Iscariot himself was a hero, but we get this idea that he may betray the Church of Gabriel, because he went there to kind of go for a rehab. He came there because he was suffering nightmares. That's who this church is aimed for. People who have seen alternates, haunted by them, and are trying to get rid of them, trying to detox, using medication, trying to help clear their minds. But we know that's not true. Judas being the first one trying to get rid of these nightmares and these visions, and he is not accepting what these shadows or what these creatures are offering. He is denying it. He is the new shepherd, if you will. And at the end of Volume 4, they give this idea that we have taken the new prophet. At first, we thought maybe that was Adam, or maybe it was Jonah. But I'm starting to think that maybe they were hinting that it was Judas here. He is supposed to be the next shepherd. And now that's an interesting take, because they keep coinciding him with a cartoon that seems to represent the original shepherd, the one who was originally the one that defied the alternates and went on to fight them and became the main basis for what we know today. That's an interesting way of taking it. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it's definitely something worth looking at, and I do think that there is some leeway or wiggle room to help support that in some way, shape, or form. Now, where we are in the story is pretty much been predicted by Jonah and Adam. There is a war going on. A war between the Intruder, Stanley, and the alternates. Now, we pretty much know that this is a war that's been going on forever and a half. At least, like I said, since the late 90s. But we do see that it's finally picked up. The alternates feel empowered by the loss of what they think was the important factor in this story. But the Intruder is still doing it. He's still out there. He's looking for Thatcher. He's not sure where he's at, but knows that he's out there trying to fix this alternate situation. He's still showing us these footages. He's still showing us these videos. Still trying to help fight the alternates. Which means that there is a war going on amongst us. A silent war. That is between them and us. Or them and the Intruder, at the very least. We're much more just in the crosshairs of this whole thing. Now, what does that mean? Who do you think will win? Obviously, it'll be the Intruder. He seems to have something going on. He's gone quiet ever since Volume 3. And if I'm right about him putting out these videos, it means that he is building up something bigger. Bigger with more people. We'll see what goes on later on, and I'm all here for it. But for now, that's all I have for this. If I do have further theories on this, I may make it during the week or later on. Thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. And there is a lot to the story, and I do suggest you go see it yourself. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below if you enjoyed this video. And I can't wait to see you guys next time. Hope you have a great day. See ya.